LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. Tilda Swinton went to 43 AIDS funerals in 1 year. Actor Tilda Swinton is opening up about the profound losses she faced at the height of the AIDS crisis, recalling that she attended 43 funerals in a single year. Speaking on BBC's Women's Hour, she said, quote, "That was what our life was like then." Referencing a new HIV prevention injection that aims to eliminate new HIV cases in the UK by 2030, she said, quote, "It's poignant for us who lived through that to know that it isn't necessarily a death sentence like it was at a certain point." Swinton, long a queer ally, credited her creative roots and her collaboration with gay filmmaker Derek Jarman, who died of AIDS-related illness in 1984. You know, I lost an uncle to AIDS in 1992. And that was sort of the time when the tide was starting to turn, even though it was still so dark. Like we lost Freddie in 1 year, but then Magic Johnson came along as HIV positive, and he's lived and he's thrived.
Like 30 years plus later, still.
And there, it's so easy to think that we've got HIV beaten. We don't.
We don't.
South Florida is still a hot spot for new cases, but it's treatable. But there's so much of the world where they don't have access to the drugs. Is it getting better? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, the first world has essentially beaten HIV, but the third world countries still have a long way to go, and we need to have compassion for them, and we need to have money for them, because a little bit of money from us here in the U.S. goes a long way for people to live thousands of miles away who you'll never meet, but you'll be a better person because of it.
Well, and a lot of that funding has been cut recently, and it continues to be cut to help, globally, like we have been doing in the past, right? John brings up a lot of topics when we talk about HIV/AIDS. We have friends, we have co-anchors who live and thrive with HIV and who are incredible humans. Like John, in the 90s, I had a favorite uncle that disappeared. Right. And my parents are super religious. So unfortunately, the conversation was never had. Right. I later found out what he died of. And, and that's not an original story. Right. I can't imagine all my best friends are gay boys. Right. I can't imagine having lunch with John one day and him disappearing the next day. Right. Or just going to 43 funerals like this woman had to. Right. We will never understand what that's like. I hope that you don't ever in your lifetime understand what that's like, and this happened, right? We can't forget about it. While they're trying to erase LGBTQ plus history, this is part of our history, so to speak. Again, HIV/AIDS doesn't only affect LGBTQIA people. Understand that we are in South Florida, and Black women are the number one most, what's the word I'm looking for?
Affected?
Contracted?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. In Miami-Dade County, it's scary, but this is something that we had to scream about because the president at the time wouldn't even say the word.
Yeah.
This is Reagan time.
Yeah.
And the fact that we were losing so many of our men and women during that time was just, it's something that we should never forget, and is a testament to how, people ask why LGBTQ is LGBTQ and not GLBT, how it used to be, right? Well, the story that I heard was that during the AIDS crisis, when men were forgotten from their families, lesbians stepped up to be at their bedside, to fill out their paperwork, to help them with their end wishes.
Yeah.
And that's when they ended up changing the acronym to the L first. We need to remember moments like that. They will continue to separate us or try to separate us, and we must never allow that to happen.
Yep.
This is an LGBTQ 1 minute news story, and there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.